Welcome to Stormwater Drainage Solutions. In this video, we're going to be performing some freeze testing on Schedule 40 PVC pipe. Now, I went ahead and just used fittings and pipe that I had on hand because I already have a pretty good idea of what's going to end up happening here. So this is 3-inch Schedule 40 PVC. We have a pressurized 90-degree angle, and then we have a long-turn street drainage 90-degree angle. I glued these together in a U figuration. That way it can perform a few things. One, it's going to be able to hold the water obviously for us so it can freeze up. And two, this is going to simulate a few things. If there's a belly in a PVC drainage line that holds water, that will freeze up in a northern climate. And the other thing that this is going to do is at the end of a pop-up emitter, when all the water does not drain out, if there's water sitting at the end of the line, that can also freeze up in a northern climate. Now, I'm not going to cap either end off, and the reason for this is because in a drainage system, there are no caps. The closest thing you have to a cap is a pop-up emitter, but even that can give way and can allow for expansion. So the freezer is at -8 degrees, so we're going to go ahead and just leave it at that and let it freeze up. So this did not happen for over 7 freeze cycles. So this took 8 freeze cycles for it to finally crack. So basically what I did was I froze this pipe, I pulled it out, let it thaw, put it back in, filled it up with water, froze it again. 24 hours later, I pull it out, let it thaw. Every 24 hours, I would pull this pipe out, and I would let it thaw, and then freeze it back up again. Because I wanted to simulate as close to actuality as possible. So I allowed it to go through cycles. So it did not crack like this on the first cycle, the second cycle, the third cycle. It took 7 cycles for this to finally crack. On the 8th cycle, when I opened it in the morning, it was cracked like this. And this is how I found it. So what that tells me is it takes some time for a PVC pipe to crack in the winter in a northern climate. Now, is it possible that it could crack on the first freeze cycle once the system is installed? Absolutely, I wouldn't doubt it. It's very possible it could. In this simulation, it took 7 freeze cycles for it to finally crack. It cracked on the 8th one. So it didn't happen right away. It did take a few of them. But as you can see, PVC pipe cracks during the freezes and thaws in northern climates. This is why we always preach that if you live somewhere that you have freezes and thaws, you should use an HDPE pipe. HDPE stands for high density polyethylene. This plastic gives, it flexes. So when the ground and water freezes within this pipe, that pipe can expand and contract because it can flex. This is the type of material you want to use if you live in a climate that experiences freezes and thaws. Now here in Florida, obviously we don't have freezes and thaws. We don't have to worry about this like those of you that live in a northern climate. When you're building drainage systems, anywhere that has freezes and thaws, you need to keep this in mind, and you need to build your systems different than we need to build them here in the South. Now, we still experience ground shifting, but it's nothing like this. It's not what freezes and thaws are going to be doing to a pipe. Now, as you can see here, I just went ahead and I just broke that pipe in half. That way we could get a closer look at the ice in there and see how it bulged that pipe out and it cracked through the pipe and the fittings. But PVC does not give. So this is very typical of a PVC system anywhere up north. Unless you can get that system below the frost line where it's not going to freeze up in the ground, then your chances of it cracking like this are pretty high if you are going to be running your system through the frost line, which if you are installing a system for residential drainage, you are probably going to be running that system through the frost line because you will not be able to discharge that system effectively if you're too deep. There's no way you can bring it to grade to a pop-up emitter to be able to discharge it unless you're taking it to a city storm drain or something like that that's deep enough that is below the frost line. But I would say 9 times out of 10, most scenarios is you're going to be running it right through the frost line. So that drainage system, that pipe is going to be hit with freezes and thaws constantly, and it's going to crack it up. Now you might think to yourself, well, what if I build my system out of PVC pipe and I just make sure there's no bellies in it and that the line cannot hold water anywhere, including the discharge end? Will this problem still occur? Unfortunately, the answer is more than likely it will, because the ground around that PVC system is going to freeze up. You're going to have frost heave. The ground is going to expand and contract, and it's going to be putting pressure on the pipe and the fittings from the outside in. So it's going to crack the opposite way. The other issue too to keep in mind is during the freeze cycles in the winter months, you're going to have enough radiant energy from the sun to thaw out some snow and ice on the roof, where that it's going to turn to water and it's going to make it into the gutters, down the downspouts, and ultimately into the underground drainage system, where the underground drainage system is still going to be cold enough to freeze that water back up. So that is another major way that ice buildup forms in underground drainage pipes, is from the snow melting enough on the roof to make it into the underground, but then the underground is still freezing cold because of the difference in temperatures, so it's going to freeze it right back up under there. And that is another way that ice forms in drainage pipes underground. There is nothing wrong with using corrugated pipe. Corrugated systems function just fine if they are installed properly with good, high quality materials. As long as they're installed properly, the systems will last a lifetime without issues. But if you have to have a smooth interior pipe and you live in a northern climate, then go with a dual wall pipe. Dual wall is corrugated on the outside and it has a smooth interior. That way you get the benefits of it having a smooth interior, and it's made out of HDPE, so it can expand and contract with your freezes and thaws. All right, guys, well, that just about does it for this video, and I hope you gained a little bit of knowledge from watching it. If you did, give us a thumbs up. It really supports us. It supports the channel. It helps out what we do. We're trying to bring this information to the DIYer and the average homeowner. That way they understand how these systems and materials function. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below and I will answer them. And if you need drainage work in the Tampa Bay area, exterior yard drainage work, give us a call at 813-614-3456, whether it's French drains, downspout drains, channel drains, stormwater drainage solutions can handle it. And until next time, this is SWDS signing off.